We are officially into the opening months of 2026, and the firearms world has made one thing very clear already. This is no longer an era of small tweaks and cosmetic updates. Shooters have moved on. What people care about now is how a gun actually performs after thousands of rounds, how it carries during a full day, and whether it delivers real capability without draining an entire paycheck. That shift has reshaped the market fast. The guns getting attention right now are not the loudest or the flashiest. They're the ones that quietly solve real problems. What you're about to hear is a snapshot of where things stand as 2026 gets underway, and why these firearms are defining the year ahead rather than chasing trends from the past. Heckler and Koch CC9 enters 2026 no longer as the mysterious new micro people were waiting to try, but as a carry pistol that has already earned trust through real daily use, long training sessions, and high round counts. This striker-fired 9mm was clearly designed from the ground up with concealment and shootability sharing equal priority, rather than one being sacrificed for the other. Overall length comes in just under 6 inches, with a barrel measuring a little over 3 inches that is cold hammer forged using HK's traditional process, then finished in a DLC coating that resists sweat, holster wear, and surface abrasion far better than basic nitriding. Unloaded weight sits in the low 20-ounce range, which places it squarely in the sweet spot, where it carries lightly but still has enough mass to avoid feeling jumpy on recoil. Slide width stays just under 1 inch, and that single measurement explains why so many shooters report the CC9 disappearing under a light cover garment and remaining comfortable through full workdays, long drives, or extended appendix carry without hot spots. Magazine capacity is 12+1, and unlike many micro pistols where capacity exists only on paper, the grip geometry here makes those rounds feel accessible and controllable, with enough front-to-back length to establish a confident firing grip without forcing most shooters to immediately rely on extensions. HK's grip design is one of the most overlooked strengths of the CC9, featuring molded side panels with aggressive but intelligently shaped texture that locks the hand in place without tearing skin during long-range sessions. 3 interchangeable backstraps are included and swap quickly without tools, allowing shooters to fine-tune grip circumference and trigger reach in seconds rather than adapting their hand to a fixed frame. Controls are fully ambidextrous across the board, including the magazine release, slide stop, and takedown lever, making this a rare micro pistol that feels equally natural for left and right-handed shooters without compromise. The trigger breaks in a mid-5-pound range with a smooth take-up, a clean wall, and a reset that is short enough to support fast follow-up shots without feeling overly light or unsafe for a carry roll. From the factory, the slide is cut for the RMSC footprint, allowing direct mounting of popular micro red dots without adapter plates or aftermarket machining, and co-witness height iron sights provide a usable backup sight picture. A short accessory rail integrated into the dust cover supports compact weapon lights, pushing the CC9 into legitimate low-light defensive territory rather than limiting it to daylight use only. Reliability has been one of the strongest talking points through early 2026, with HK subjecting the design to extensive NATO spec endurance testing before release, and user reports backing that up with consistent performance across a wide range of ammunition types. Current street pricing has stabilized around the $700 mark, which places the CC9 above budget micros, but firmly within the range shooters expect for HK build quality and long-term durability. The primary drawbacks remain proprietary magazines that cost more than average and a slightly higher bore axis than some competitors, which can translate to snappier recoil for new shooters until technique catches up. Larger hands may also prefer extended base plates for added comfort. Even with those trade-offs, the CC9 stands out in early 2026 as a micro pistol that feels deliberately engineered rather than rushed to market, offering a refined balance of concealability, control, and longevity that continues to convert skeptics into long-term carriers. Walther PDP Match has become one of the clearest symbols of what shooters now expect from a serious full-size pistol in 2026, and its continued popularity makes sense once you spend real time behind the trigger. This is a 9mm handgun that does not force shooters into a single role or philosophy, but instead gives them meaningful options that genuinely change how the gun behaves. The most important choice comes down to frame material. The polymer frame PDP Match keeps unloaded weight in the high 20-ounce range, which immediately makes it realistic for duty use, intensive training blocks, and even concealed carry for shooters willing to manage a full-size grip. That lighter weight pays off during long days on the range or extended wear on a belt, where fatigue becomes a real factor. Even so, the polymer version never feels flimsy or hollow. The balance remains neutral thanks to the 5-inch barrel, which stretches the sight radius and keeps the gun tracking smoothly during recoil. Overall length sits just over 8.5 inches. Height is generous enough to support a full firing grip, and slide width stays slim enough to fit standard holsters without issue. The steel frame PDP Match shifts the experience dramatically. At roughly 40 ounces unloaded, it transforms the gun into a recoil-eating machine that stays remarkably flat during rapid fire. That added mass soaks up impulse and minimizes muzzle rise, making fast follow-up shots easier to stack and helping shooters maintain visual discipline on the front sight or red dot through long strings. This version has become especially popular among competitive shooters who value consistency and control over portability, particularly during high round count matches where small advantages add up quickly. Regardless of frame choice, magazine capacity starts at 18 rounds, with higher capacity factory options available, allowing the PDP Match to remain competitive without relying on aftermarket extensions or tuning. Ergonomics are one of the pistol's strongest selling points, and a major reason it feels approachable to new shooters while still rewarding experienced ones. The grip angle naturally aligns the sights with the shooter's eye line, reducing the need to consciously drive the gun on presentation. This translates to faster first shots and less mental overhead during training. Interchangeable backstraps allow grip circumference to be adjusted easily, accommodating a wide range of hand sizes without compromising trigger reach. Grip texture is aggressive enough to maintain control under sweat or gloves, but refined enough to avoid discomfort during extended sessions. Reloads are aided by a subtly flared magwell that guides magazines cleanly without adding bulk that could interfere with carrier movement. The slide comes optics ready from the factory, allowing direct mounting of popular red dots without plates, keeping the optic low and improving recoil control and sight tracking. Deep slide serrations front and rear provide excellent purchase for manipulations, even under stress or adverse conditions. At the heart of the PDP Match is Walther's dynamic performance trigger, which continues to set the standard for factory striker-fire triggers. With a smooth take-up, a clearly defined wall, and a clean break averaging around 4 pounds, it delivers consistency shot after shot. The reset is short, tactile, and confidence-inspiring, encouraging fast cadence without feeling unsafe or unpredictable. Reliability has proven solid throughout early 2026, with the platform handling high round counts and varied ammunition without developing the finicky tendencies sometimes associated with competition-oriented pistols. Current pricing reflects its premium positioning, with the polymer version typically landing around the low $1,100 range, and the steel frame commanding significantly more, placing it in the same conversation as semi-custom builds. The trade-offs are real. The steel version is heavy for all-day carry, and at this price level some shooters begin comparing it to custom options. Even so, the PDP Match delivers exactly what modern shooters now demand: a pistol that arrives fully capable, adaptable to different roles, and unapologetically performance-focused. In a year where expectations are higher than ever, the PDP Match does not ask for excuses or upgrades. It simply performs. Canik MC9 Prime has quickly established itself as one of the most talked-about compact pistols of early 2026, not because of hyper-branding, but because it delivers performance that normally requires a much larger frame or a much higher price tag. This subcompact 9mm was clearly engineered with recoil management as a primary goal, and it shows the moment the first shots break. Overall length sits just under 7 inches, with a barrel measuring a little over 3 inches, yet the shooting experience feels closer to a compact duty pistol than a true micro. The reason is the integrated compensator machined directly into the slide, paired with a ported barrel that vents gas upward to counter muzzle rise. Rather than relying on weight alone, Canik uses gas redirection to keep the front sight flat, allowing fast follow-up shots in tight split times even during rapid strings. Unloaded weight lands in the low 20-ounce range, keeping the pistol light enough for daily carry while still stable enough to avoid the snappy, unsettled feel common to smaller guns. Capacity is a generous 17+1, which immediately separates the MC9 Prime from most pistols in its size class and reduces the need for constant reloads during training or range sessions. Grip design plays a major role in how controllable the gun feels. The frame features aggressive, full wrap texture that provides consistent traction whether shooting barehanded, with gloves, or in humid conditions, yet the texture is patterned in a way that avoids excessive abrasion during extended carry. Interchangeable back straps allow shooters to fine-tune grip circumference, helping establish a high, locked-in firing grip that complements the compensator's effect. The grip angle feels neutral and intuitive, allowing the pistol to present naturally without conscious adjustment, which shortens the learning curve for new shooters while still rewarding experienced ones. A factory flare magwell is another detail that elevates the MC9 Prime beyond budget expectations. Reloads funnel smoothly even under time pressure, reducing fumbles and keeping the gun running during drills or competition-style practice. The slide is cut from the factory for the RMSC footprint, making micro red dot mounting simple and direct without adapter plates or aftermarket milling. Installing a micro optic is a straightforward process, and the slide geometry keeps the optic low enough to maintain good recoil control and sight tracking. Front and rear slide serrations are deep and well-placed, offering positive engagement for press checks and manipulations even with wet or gloved hands. The trigger is one of the strongest points of the MC9 Prime. It is flat-faced and breaks cleanly at around 4.5 pounds, with minimal take-up and a short, tactile reset that encourages speed without feeling overly light or unsafe for a defensive role. This trigger setup makes the pistol feel fast and responsive while still controllable, especially during rapid fire. Reliability has been solid throughout early 2026, with the MC9 Prime running a wide range of ammunition without complaint, including high-volume training loads. Current street pricing has remained steady in the mid-$600 range, which positions the MC9 Prime as a serious value when compared to similarly sized pistols that require aftermarket upgrades to achieve comparable performance. The trade-offs are worth noting. The integrated compensator adds a small amount of length, which can affect deep concealment depending on holster choice, and the aggressive grip texture may feel abrasive to some shooters during all-day carry without an undershirt. Even so, those are minor considerations when weighed against the overall package. In a year where shooters are increasingly demanding complete, ready-to-run firearms, the Canik MC9 Prime stands out as a compact 9mm that delivers real performance straight out of the box, proving that smart engineering and thoughtful design can outperform size and price expectations in 2026. Heritage Manufacturing Coach Whip stands apart in early 2026 as a reminder that not every firearm shaping the year is built from polymer frames, red dots, and recoil ports, and that is precisely why it continues to resonate with a certain kind of shooter. This side-by-side shotgun occupies a space that modern designs rarely touch, offering a shooting experience rooted in deliberate action, mechanical honesty, and visual character rather than speed alone. Built around dual 18-inch barrels, the Coach Whip keeps overall length compact enough to handle easily in tight spaces while maintaining excellent balance between the hands. Depending on configuration, overall length lands just over 36 inches, and weight typically falls in the mid-6-pound range, which keeps it lively without feeling whippy or unstable. The barrels are regulated for close-range effectiveness and chambered to handle modern loads. making the gun far more than a nostalgic wall hanger. The receiver is finished in a traditional case-hardened treatment that shifts between blues, purples, and bronze tones under light, giving each example a slightly unique appearance that modern coatings simply cannot replicate. Paired with Turkish walnut furniture shaped into a classic straight grip and compact stock, the Koch whip feels warm and organic in the hands, immediately separating it from synthetic heavy designs. Operation is intentionally manual, with exposed external hammers that must be cocked before firing, reinforcing a sense of control and awareness with every shot. The tang-mounted sliding safety falls naturally under the thumb and is easy to manipulate without breaking grip, while the simple brass bead sight up front keeps the sight picture uncluttered and fast at practical distances. There are no fiber optics, no electronics, and no unnecessary additions. Just a clean line from eye to target that encourages instinctive shooting. Capacity is limited to 2 rounds, and there is no escaping that reality, but that limitation is part of the Koch whip's appeal. It forces shooters to slow down, make each shot count, and stay engaged with the mechanics of the gun rather than relying on volume alone. Reloads are deliberate and methodical, rewarding smooth technique over speed. Recoil, particularly in 12 gauge, can be stout if the shooter is not properly braced, but the stock geometry and balance help distribute that impulse in a way that feels honest rather than punishing. Available chamberings typically include 12 gauge for maximum authority, 20 gauge for lighter recoil and quicker handling, and smaller options for shooters seeking a more relaxed shooting experience. Despite its old-world appearance, the Koch whip is built with modern metallurgy and tolerances, allowing it to handle contemporary ammunition reliably without the fragility associated with true antiques. Current pricing in early 2026 generally sits just under the $1,000 mark, placing it within reach of enthusiasts who want craftsmanship and character without venturing into custom or collector pricing. The trade-offs are clear and unapologetic. This is not a high-capacity defensive shotgun, and it is not designed for suppressed night work or accessory mounting. It demands intention, awareness, and a willingness to engage with the shooting process rather than rushing through it. Yet that is exactly why it continues to find an audience in a market obsessed with speed and efficiency. In a fast-moving landscape where many firearms blur together in function and appearance, the heritage manufacturing Koch whip offers something increasingly rare in 2026: a firearm that slows the shooter down, reconnects them with the fundamentals, and proves that relevance is not always measured in rounds per magazine or accessories per rail. Zenith ZF5 continues to hold a unique and well-earned position as 2026 unfolds, especially among shooters who value smooth operation, proven engineering, and a shooting experience that feels refined rather than rushed. This MP5 Style 9mm is built around the classic roller-delayed blowback system, and that single design choice defines almost everything about how the ZF5 behaves on the range. Instead of relying on heavy bolts or aggressive gas systems, the roller-delayed action spreads recoil impulse over time, resulting in an exceptionally soft and controllable shooting experience that many shooters immediately notice on the first magazine. Overall length comes in just under 18 inches in its pistol configuration, with an 8.9-inch barrel that is cold hammer forged and threaded, typically in the common suppressor thread pattern, and finished with a tri-lug interface that allows suppressors to be mounted quickly and securely. This makes the ZF5 one of the most natural suppressor hosts available in its category, as the combination of subsonic 9mm, roller delay, and proper mounting keeps recoil mild and tone pleasant without excessive back pressure. Unloaded weight sits around 5.5 pounds, which helps stabilize the platform during rapid fire while still keeping it light enough for extended range sessions without fatigue. The controls mirror the traditional MP5 layout, including the charging handle placement and paddle-style magazine release, which feels intuitive to anyone familiar with the platform and quickly becomes second nature, even for new shooters. The handguard provides ample gripping surface and mounting options without overwhelming the rifle with unnecessary bulk, allowing shooters to add lights or accessories while maintaining the clean lines that define the design. Out of the box, The ZF5 typically ships with multiple magazines and a hard case, reinforcing its role as a ready-to-run package rather than a bare platform that requires immediate investment. The trigger, while serviceable and consistent, is not match grade, generally breaking in the mid-6-pound range with some take-up and creep, but this is a known characteristic of the platform and rarely detract from the overall shooting experience, especially given how forgiving the recoil impulse is. The polymer lower does lack the cold heft of metal frame counterparts, which may disappoint purists, but also helps keep weight manageable and has proven durable through sustained use. Reliability has been one of the strongest points for the ZF5 throughout early 2026, with the platform running cleanly across a wide range of ammunition and continuing to function smoothly even as round counts climb. Current street pricing typically falls in the low to mid $1,300 range, depending on configuration and availability, positioning the ZF5 well below original German imports while still delivering the core shooting characteristics that made the design legendary. The trade-offs are honest and well understood. This is not a precision rifle, nor is it intended to compete with modern carbines in terms of modularity or long-range capability. It shines at practical distances, rapid strings, and high-volume shooting where controllability and consistency matter more than raw ballistic performance. That is why the ZF5 continues to earn its place on the range rather than fading into novelty status. In a year where many platforms chase innovation through complexity, the Zenith ZF5 stands as proof that timeless engineering, executed correctly, can remain not only relevant but deeply satisfying, offering shooters in 2026 a firearm that prioritizes shootability, enjoyment, and mechanical elegance over trends that come and go. SIG Sauer P365 Flux PDW has emerged in 2026 as one of the most unconventional yet genuinely practical evolutions of the concealed carry concept, blurring lines that used to be firmly drawn between micro-pistols, personal defense weapons, and compact carbines. Built around the proven P365 fire control unit, this platform takes the familiar foundation of one of the most widely trusted carry pistols and stretches it into a configuration focused on control, stability, and versatility rather than minimalism alone. Chambered in 9mm, the system centers around a longer 6-inch barrel that is factory compensated, using gas redirection to significantly reduce muzzle rise and smooth out recoil impulse. The result is a shooting experience that feels noticeably flatter than a standard micro pistol, allowing shooters to maintain visual contact with the sights or optic during rapid strings and engage targets at distances that would normally push a compact handgun beyond its comfort zone. Overall length increases compared to a standard P365, and unloaded weight rises due to the integrated chassis and brace assembly. But that additional mass works in the shooter's favor by improving balance and recoil control instead of making the gun feel unwieldy. The defining feature of the P365 Flux PDW is its spring-loaded folding brace, which deploys automatically as the gun is drawn. There are no buttons, levers, or manual steps required, meaning the transition from carry to shoulder-supported firing happens instinctively and consistently under stress. Once deployed, the brace dramatically changes how the platform handles, turning what would normally be a high-tempo micro-pistol into something that behaves much closer to a compact PDW, with faster follow-up shots, reduced muzzle movement, and greater practical accuracy. When collapsed, the brace folds cleanly into the profile of the gun, keeping the overall footprint slimmer than traditional PW designs and allowing it to remain viable for concealed carry with proper holster selection and carry position. Ergonomics remain familiar to anyone who has spent time within the P365 ecosystem, with ambidextrous controls, consistent grip angle, and broad magazine compatibility, ranging from flush-fit carry magazines to extended options for range and home defense use. The slide is optics-ready, cut for micro red dots that complement the PDW roll without excessive height over bore, and integrated rail space allows mounting compact weapon lights, reinforcing its suitability for low-light defensive scenarios. The trigger retains the characteristic P365 feel, prioritizing consistency and safety over competition refinement. And while it is not match grade, it pairs well with the added stability provided by the compensator and brace, allowing shooters to run the gun faster and more accurately without demanding perfect trigger discipline. Reliability has carried over from the base platform into early 2026, with the Flux PDW showing consistent performance across a wide range of ammunition types. Pricing places it firmly in the premium category, typically landing in the mid to high $1,700 range, depending on configuration, reflecting the engineering complexity and niche role it fills. The compromises are clear and honest. It is not as discreet as a traditional micro pistol. Deep concealment requires thoughtful setup, and minimalist carriers may find the added length and bulk unnecessary. However, for shooters who want a single platform capable of covering concealed carry, home defense, and serious range work without adding multiple firearms to the safe, the P365 Flux PDW stands in 2026 as a bold, well-executed answer, proving that concealed carry can evolve beyond compromise while remaining grounded in real-world use. IWI Carmel has steadily carved out a strong position on the rifle side as 2026 unfolds, especially among shooters who place a premium on reliability, adaptability, and consistency over trend-driven aesthetics. This is a rifle that feels purpose-built from the ground up, designed to run clean, stay controllable, and remain predictable when conditions are less than ideal. At its core, the Carmel uses a short-stroke gas piston system rather than traditional direct impingement, and that choice defines much of its character. By keeping heat and fouling out of the receiver, the Carmel runs noticeably cleaner during extended firing sessions, a trait that becomes even more valuable when shooting suppressed. The adjustable gas system allows shooters to fine-tune operation based on ammunition, suppressor use, or environmental conditions, reducing excess recoil and while maintaining reliable cycling. Barrel options typically include lengths ranging from approximately 11.5 inches for compact configurations to 14.5 or 16 inches for general-purpose use, with cold hammer-forged, chrome-lined barrels designed for long service life. Overall length varies depending on configuration, but the side-folding stock dramatically shortens the rifle when collapsed, making it easier to transport discreetly or maneuver in confined spaces. Unloaded weight sits around 8 pounds, which strikes a balance between stability and portability, giving the rifle enough mass to manage recoil without becoming fatiguing during long training days. One of the Carmel's most defining features is its fully ambidextrous control layout. The safety, magazine release, bolt catch, and charging handle are all accessible from either side without modification, allowing left and right-handed shooters to run the rifle identically and switch shoulders without disruption. The non-reciprocating charging handle is positioned for intuitive use and does not interfere with optics or accessories, reinforcing the rifle's emphasis on ergonomics under stress. The monolithic top rail provides a continuous mounting surface for optics, while the free-floating handguard uses an MLOK interface that allows shooters to add lights, grips, or other accessories without unnecessary bulk. The handguard feels rigid and well-balanced, contributing to the Carmel's stable shooting characteristics during rapid strings. Chambered commonly in intermediate rifle calibers, depending on marking configuration, the Carmel is designed to handle high round counts without shifting zero or developing the looseness that can plague less robust platforms. The trigger is serviceable and consistent, tuned more for duty reliability than match performance, which aligns with the rifle's overall philosophy. It breaks cleanly enough for practical accuracy while remaining predictable under stress. Reliability has been a consistent theme in user reports throughout early 2026, with the Carmel maintaining function across varied ammunition types and adverse conditions without demanding constant maintenance. Pricing typically lands in the mid-$1,700 range, placing it competitively against other piston-driven rifles while undercutting some of the more expensive options in the category. The trade-offs are worth acknowledging. The Carmel is not the lightest rifle in its class, and its design prioritizes function over flashy styling, which may leave some shooters wanting more visual flair. The trigger, while reliable, does not cater to precision competition shooters without aftermarket work. However, those compromises feel intentional rather than accidental. The Carmel is built to be run hard, trained with extensively, and trusted when conditions are unpredictable. As training standards continue to rise in 2026 and shooters demand rifles that perform consistently under pressure, the IWI Carmel stands out not by trying to impress on the wall, but by staying boring in the best possible way when it matters most. Staccato P4 has firmly established itself in 2026 as a serious, duty-driven handgun for shooters who want refined performance and long-term reliability without stepping into full custom, boutique territory, and that reputation is earned through design choices that prioritize consistency over flash. Built on a full steel 2011 style frame and paired with a 4-inch bull barrel, the P4 comes in with an overall length just under 8 inches, a height around 5.9 inches with standard magazines, and an unloaded weight that typically falls in the mid to high 30-ounce range. On paper, those numbers suggest a heavy pistol, but in practice that mass translates directly into control. In 9mm, recoil feels smooth and predictable rather than sharp. The slide cycles with a measured rhythm, and the muzzle stays flatter than most lighter striker-fired pistols, making fast follow-up shots easier to manage without forcing the shooter to fight the gun. The bull barrel eliminates the traditional bushing, increasing lockup consistency and rigidity while contributing to repeatable accuracy and a softer recoil impulse over long strings of fire. One of the defining strengths of the P4 is its grip module, which delivers classic 2011 ergonomics with a grip angle and trigger reach that feel immediately natural, while remaining slim enough to work in duty holsters and even concealed carry setups for shooters accustomed to heavier pistols. Standard magazine capacity sits around 17 rounds of 9mm, striking a balance between firepower and grip comfort without turning the frame into an oversized block. Accuracy is consistently excellent, aided by the tight barrel-to-slide fit and the inherent stiffness of the steel frame, allowing confident hits at distance and forgiving performance across a wide range of ammunition without the finicky behavior often seen in competition-tuned builds. The single-action trigger is a major highlight, breaking cleanly in the low 3-pound range with minimal take-up and a short, positive reset that rewards disciplined shooting while still feeling robust enough for duty use rather than delicate or race only. Controls are thoughtfully laid out, featuring ambidextrous thumb safeties and a well-blended grip safety integrated into an extended beaver tail that supports a high, aggressive grip without risk of slide bite. The slide is optics-ready, cut to accept modern red dot sights while retaining usable iron sights, reinforcing the P4's role as a contemporary working pistol rather than a nostalgic design. Internally, the platform is built to handle high round counts and harsh use, with durable components and tuning that prioritize reliability over tight tolerances that demand constant attention, setting it apart from many custom 2011s that require frequent maintenance. That focus on durability has become a defining trait of the P4, especially for shooters who train hard and expect their equipment to keep running. Pricing remains firmly in the premium category in 2026, typically landing above the $2,000 mark, depending on configuration, and that cost will understandably give some shooters pause. It is also heavier than aluminum-framed alternatives, which can matter during all-day carry. Even so, the Staccato P4 justifies its place by delivering a rare blend of shootability, durability, and refinement, standing as a pistol that bridges the gap between duty gun and enthusiast firearm, offering confidence and consistency for shooters who want serious performance without the uncertainty and expense of a full custom build. EAA Witness 2311 Match X has carved out a very specific and increasingly popular niche in 2026 by offering true compensated 2011 style performance at a price point that feels attainable rather than aspirational. This pistol is built on a full steel frame, and that choice immediately defines how it shoots and who it is for. Chambered in 9mm, the added mass works in concert with the integrated compensator to dramatically reduce muzzle rise, keeping the gun exceptionally flat during rapid fire and making fast, accurate follow-up shots feel almost effortless. Overall length stretches just past 8 inches due to the compensator, while the barrel and slide assembly are carefully tuned to vent gas upward without excessive blast or distraction. Unloaded weight sits in the low to mid 30-ounce range, heavier than polymer striker-fired pistols, but well-balanced, giving the gun a planted, confidence-inspiring feel in the hands. The integrated compensator is not a cosmetic add-on, but a functional part of the design, working seamlessly with the slide mass to control recoil rather than relying solely on spring tuning or grip technique. Accuracy benefits from this setup, as the sights remain stable through the firing cycle, allowing shooters to stay visually connected to the target even during aggressive strings. The single-action trigger is another highlight, breaking cleanly around 4 to 4.5 pounds with minimal take-up and a short, tactile reset that encourages speed without sacrificing control. It is not a hyper-light competition trigger, but it strikes a balance that feels appropriate for a pistol meant to bridge range, competition, and defensive training roles. Ergonomics follow the familiar 2011 pattern, with a grip angle that points naturally and a grip module slim enough to fit a wide range of hand sizes while still providing excellent leverage. Front and rear slide serrations are deep and practical, supporting confident manipulations under sweat or gloves, and the frame includes a full-length accessory rail for mounting weapon lights, reinforcing its versatility. The slide comes optics-ready, allowing direct mounting of micro red dots without complex adapter systems, which keeps the optic low and improves recoil control and sight tracking. Magazine capacity typically ranges from 17 to 20 rounds depending on configuration, giving the pistol competitive capacity straight out of the box. Reliability has been a strong point throughout early 2026, with the Witness 2311 Match X handling high round counts and varied ammunition without the finicky behavior often associated with tightly fitted 2011 platforms. Pricing is where this pistol truly separates itself, commonly landing around the $1,000 to $1,100 range, sometimes lower during sales, which places it well below many competitors offering similar steel frame, compensated performance. The trade-offs are honest and visible. The pistol is heavier than polymer alternatives, and that weight can be noticeable during extended carry or long training days on the belt. Some shooters may also find that factory magazines require a short break-in period before dropping free consistently. Even so, many are more than willing to accept those compromises because of how the gun shoots. In a market where compensated, flat-shooting pistols often come with premium pricing and boutique wait times, the EAA Witness 2311 Match X stands in 2026 as proof that high-performance shooting characteristics do not have to be reserved for the top end of the market, delivering speed, control, and confidence in a package that feels refreshingly accessible. Taurus GX2 stands as one of the clearest indicators of where the firearms market has moved in 2026, not by chasing trends or prestige, but by focusing relentlessly on function and accessibility. This striker-fired 9mm was never meant to dominate spec sheets or win internet arguments, and that is precisely why it has gained so much quiet traction among everyday shooters. The GX2 is built around straightforward, practical dimensions, with an overall length just over 6 inches, a barrel measuring slightly above 3 inches, and a slim slide profile that keeps it comfortable for inside-the-waistband carry, without feeling fragile or undersized. Unloaded weight sits in the low 20-ounce range, light enough for all-day carry, but substantial enough to avoid the hollow, snappy feel common in ultra-budget pistols. Capacity typically comes in at 13+1, striking a balance between concealability and usable firepower without resorting to oversized grips or awkward extensions. Ergonomics are one of the most noticeable improvements over earlier generations, with a higher undercut at the trigger guard, a subtle palm swell, and grip texturing that provides control without becoming abrasive against skin or clothing. The grip angle feels natural on presentation, allowing the sights to align quickly without conscious correction, which is especially valuable for newer shooters or those training under stress. Sights are intentionally simple but effective, featuring a high-visibility front paired with a serrated rear that reduces glare and allows for easy adjustment without specialized tools. The trigger breaks consistently around 6 pounds, with a predictable pull and a short enough reset to support controlled follow-up shots, prioritizing reliability and safety over match-style refinement. Internally, the GX2 uses a straightforward striker system designed to tolerate dirt, heat, and high round counts without demanding constant maintenance. Reliability has been one of its strongest selling points throughout early 2026, with the platform continuing to function through extended training sessions and varied ammunition without the erratic behavior often associated with pistols in this price category. A short accessory rail allows the mounting of compact weapon lights, extending its usefulness into low-light defensive roles without adding unnecessary bulk. Current street pricing often lands well under $300, a number that fundamentally changes how shooters approach ownership and training. At that price, the GX2 becomes a pistol people are willing to carry hard, train with aggressively, and rely on without worrying about cosmetic or sunk cost. The trade-offs are visible and honest. The trigger is serviceable rather than refined. Magazine options remain limited compared to more established platforms, and the slide stop can feel small for gloved hands. Yet none of those drawbacks undermine the core mission of the gun. In a year where more shooters are prioritizing ammunition, training time, and real-world performance over brand status, the Taurus GX2 reflects a broader shift toward practical tools that simply work. In 2026, its appeal lies not in what it promises, but in what it consistently delivers. As 2026 moves forward, this lineup makes one thing increasingly obvious. The firearms market has grown up. Shooters are paying less attention to buzzwords and more attention to what actually holds up through real training, real carry, and real round counts. Guns that balance performance, reliability, and honest value are rising to the top, while empty hype is fading fast. Somewhere in this group is a platform that matches how you truly shoot, carry, and practice, not an idealized version sold by marketing. As the year unfolds, that gap between what looks good on paper and what works in real life is only going to become more obvious.